What's up, my Central Unit? It's the Central Man here. So it's been a long time since I review a WCW/NWA pay-per-view. Haven't reviewed a WCW/NWA pay-per-view for months. The last WCW/NWA pay-per-view I reviewed was Super Bowl 6. That was way back in March of this year. Haven't reviewed a WCW/NWA pay-per-view for ages. Haven't reviewed it ever since. So I'm trying to get back on track reviewing a WCW/NWA pay-per-view. So we're in the month of October. I got me thinking, let's review a classic Halloween Havoc show. So today I'm reviewing WCW's Halloween Havoc 1991 at the UTC Arena. Right now it's called the McKenzie Arena in Chattanooga, Tennessee. On the 27th of October 1991, the attendance for the show was 8,900. This show received about 120,000 pay-per-view buys. I don't know what is the reason why that show got a bad buy rate. There's one reason why they got that buy rate. Has to do, this pay-per-view is on the same night as, I think it was an NFL game between the Washington Redskins versus the New York Giants, I think, and the World Series match in the baseball. I don't know who's facing in the World Series in 1991. This is before my time. That could be the reason why this show, Halloween Havoc 1991, got a low buy rate. You know, like I said, it's got 120,000 pay-per-view buys. It's just what it is. Anyway, so the commentators for the show are Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone. This show is memorable for the Halloween Phantom. We'll get to him later on in this review. You know, the crowning of the first light heavyweight champion for WCW. The Chamber of Horrors match. We'll get to that match shortly. And also, this is the first WCW or Halloween Havoc under the WCW banner, because the last one was NWA/WCW. It's still under the Jim Crockett Promotions banner. Before it's just a plain solo WCW Halloween Havoc show. Anyway, so let's get to the opening match of Halloween Havoc 1991. This is a multi-man tag team match for the opener. This is the one and only Chamber of Horrors match. Holy shit. That's the reason why this show is memorable for this match. This is I think it's an 8-man tag team match. Team Sting versus Team Cactus Jack, I think. There's 2 or 3 competitors originally scheduled to be in this match, but they basically pulled them away from this match, you know, due to injury, left the company, or, you know, they're in different matches later on in this match on the show. So, the competitors for Team Sting, you've got Sting, Elegante, aka Giant Gonzalez in the WWF. That'll be 2 years later in 1993. The Steiner brothers, that is Rick and Scott Steiner, taking on Abdullah the Butcher, the Diamond Stud, aka Scott Hall, the future Razor Ramon, Cactus Jack, aka Mick Foley, future Mankind, future Dude Love, and Vader. I think there were 2 or 3 competitors scheduled to compete in this match. So Oz was originally supposed to be scheduled to compete in this match. You know, Oz is the future, you know, it's Kevin Nash, the future Diesel. Unfortunately, he was pulled from the match. You know, he's going to face a different opponent later on this show. We'll get to Kevin Nash's match later on in this review. Big Van Vader replaced him. Barry Windham. I'm guessing Barry Windham replaced... I think Vader replaced Barry Windham got replaced by... I don't know who fucking... They didn't tell me... No one explained who replaced Barry Windham. Barry Windham got hurt. He got replaced. He got attacked by the Enforcers. That is Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, the WCW Tag Team Champions. We'll get to their match later on in this review. They basically injured Barry Windham's arm. Basically slammed his arm in the car door. So he's out of this Chamber of Horrors match. And by the way, One Man Gang was scheduled to compete in this match. Unfortunately, left WCW before this show. Yeah, no one explained who replaced Barry Windham. And by the way, the match between, the Chamber of Horrors match, the one and only Chamber of Horrors match, not just in WCW history, but in pro wrestling history, is a clusterfuck. I'm sorry. The rules of this match is basically you have to kill your opponent. Basically, you have to put one of your opponents in the electric chair, flick the switch, and electrocute them. That's the rules of this match. Clusterfuck. There were basically just punching kicks. There was one guy wearing a black mask and a black tights. In this song, in the cage, he's not really a competitor. I don't know who he is. I think like the babyface. I think the Steiners beat the fuck out of this guy wearing the black mask. You got these zombie, ghouls, magicians. You know, they're wearing white face paint and white shirts and white trousers, with carrying like this stretcher. And I understand this is still under the WCW. It's under the Jim Herd era in WCW, because Jim Herd trying to copy what WWF was doing. You know, copy the sports entertainment side of professional wrestling. Because, by the way, the last two 1991 WCW pay-per-views I reviewed was Super Bowl 1 and Starrcade 1991. Super Bowl 1 was a good show. Starrcade 91, not so much. That was a crap show. And yeah, I reviewed some Clash of the Champion shows of that year. You know, I don't want to get into the overall year of 1991. I know it's before my time, but that's another topic for another time. Anyway, so back to this match. Like I said, clusterfuck. I think there was a lot of miscues. I think like the switch broke, and then Mick Foley's I think the original plan was to save Abdullah the Butcher. Unfortunately, he cost his team the match. He flipped the switch, and Abdullah the Butcher got electrocuted. There were fucking pyro around the chair, and I cringe. And also, the helmet was not on the head of Abdullah the Butcher. It's so bad and cringy and it's shit. And afterwards, you got Cactus Jack and Abdullah the Butcher beating down the zombie morticians, and that was it. I don't want to get into it. And completely stupid. And if you compare this match to the 6-man Hell in a Cell match from Armageddon 2000, I prefer the 6-man Hell in a Cell match from Armageddon 2000 rather than the Chamber of Horrors match from Halloween Havoc 91. Because you got more moving parts. You know, you had Undertaker chokeslam Rikishi off Hell in a Cell. For this, there's nothing. They can't really do anything in the ring. I don't understand why Sting, the Steiners, Scott Hall, Vader, Mick Foley. I don't understand why they want to participate in this match. You know, it's okay to hurt someone in the ring, but attempt to kill somebody on pay-per-view, come on, it goes too far. You know, Jim Herd is an asshole. You know, he's just basically trying to copy what WWF was doing at the time. You know, like I said, copy the sports entertainment side of professional wrestling. And here's another kicker. TNA ended up doing the same similar match to the Chamber of Horrors match a decade and a half later. That was what, 2006, 2007. That was not a better improvement. You know, no one wants to see death on the show. It's just what it is. It's pro wrestling. It's kayfabe. We don't want to see a wrestler getting killed. It's okay to hurt someone in the ring, but killing, not so much. So I don't think there's any build to this. No build. It's just basically a whole waste of time. So moving on to the next match. So the next match, we got a tag team match. We got the Creatures. I don't know who's Creature number 2 is. Creature number 1 is Joey Maggs taking on Big Joss and PN News. Big Joss is Matt Bourne, aka the first doink in the WWF in 1992 or 1993. This was head cheese booking. I used the term head cheese booking, you know, Al Snow, Steve Blackman, because head cheese booking means like you have wrestlers with different gimmicks pairing up as a tag team for no reasons. That's just head cheese booking is. So you got a rapper and a lumberjack teaming up. The match was just a squash match. The Creature has some offense, but you know, Big Joss and PN News got the victory. So we're moving on to the next match. The next match we got beautiful Bobby Eaton taking on Terrence Taylor of the York Foundation with Alexander York, aka Terry Reynolds, in Terrence Taylor's corner. The match was good. It was a decent match, back and forth between both Eaton and Terrence Taylor. I think there was one spot they hit each other on the ramp. Basically you had I think he had Eaton. I think he hit like a top rope move off outside the ring onto the ramp, and then Terrence Taylor hit Bobby Eaton with a gut wrench powerbomb onto Eaton on the ramp. So it was good, because in 1992 they ended up banning top moves off the top rope. That was under the Bill Watts era in WCW. It was a really fun match. Got a little boring, but in the end, Bobby Eaton got the victory over Terrence Taylor. Hit the Alabama Jam. That was basically a leg drop off the top rope for the win. So moving on to the next match. The next match, this is basically heel versus heels, I think. We got Johnny B. Bad with Theodore Long in his corner. Johnny B. Bad is, Mark Merrow, taking on the Freebirds. We got Jimmy John Garvin represent the Fabulous Freebirds with Michael P.S. Hayes in Jimmy Garvin's corner. Michael P.S. Hayes, who was possibly scheduled to face Doug Summers later on the show, unfortunately, he suffered a kayfabe injury. I think Barry Windham suffered a legitimately arm injury, but after the attack by Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko. So basically, they changed wrestlers and put them in different matches. Bounce around the cards. That could be the reason why they got a low buy rate. I don't know. Anyway, so the match between B Bad and Garvin, it was an okay, I call it an okay match. It wasn't a bad match, but at the same time, wasn't great. It was a little boring. This is a heel versus heel match. The fans were cheering for the Freebirds. They were cheering because I think they were wearing Atlanta. The Atlanta baseball team. Was it the Atlanta Braves? It's called the baseball team in Atlanta, because they're from Atlanta. The Freebirds. Why they did that in Tennessee? Because you end up getting booed, and the fans in Tennessee never booed the Freebirds. I simply don't get it. Anyway, so it was a okay match. In the end, Garvin. Yeah, Jimmy John Garvin, I think he hit a DDT, and then he got I think it was some distractions, and then in the end, B Bad, hit Garvin with a punch, and then Garvin's foot was on the ropes, but Teddy Long removed Garvin's foot off the ropes, so Johnny B Bad got the victory over Jimmy Garvin, and that was it. B Bad ended up becoming a babyface later on in his career in WCW, but it was an okay match. Nothing special. I don't think there's any build to this. I'm guessing I don't know. It's just no build. It's just a bonus match on the show to fill up the card. Anyway, so the next match, this is a breath of fresh air, because we got the two band matches on the show, like the Chamber of Horrors match, Big Joss, PN News versus the Creatures. It was a decent match between Bobby Eaton and Terrence Taylor. This is one of the best matches on the show. We got Stunning Steve Austin with Lady Blossom. Lady Blossom is a wrestling valet from England who was Chris Adams' valet in WCCW. That was in a wrestling company in Texas. That was in the Von Erich territory. And then she had a pit stop to WCW. Defending the WCW Television Championship against Dustin Rhodes. We got the future Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Goldust. Stunning Steve won the TV title in May, so kicked off his 329-day run as the TV champion. The match was really good. It was good technical style wrestling between Austin and Dustin Rhodes, because at the time his dad Dusty Rhodes was the booker of WCW. Lady Blossom, she ended up leaving the company and not just leaving the company, but leaving pro wrestling altogether after this. She gave Dustin Rhodes some crappy slaps. Her slaps were completely weak, and there was some blood in this match. I really like it. Some color. Dustin Rhodes bled buckets. Steve Austin bled buckets. It was a back and forth match. A lot of near falls. In the end, the match ended in a time limit draw. It was really good. It makes sense because Austin retains the title. It is a blessing in disguise for Dustin Rhodes. I don't think he won a TV title in WCW. I don't think it really hurt him. But with Austin, he ended up holding that belt until dropping it at Clash of the Champions. I think that was in 1992 in September. Clash of the Champions Fall Brawl, and 1991 was, it's not Steve Austin's year, but this was the time Austin was breaking out in the company. He debuted in 1991. He debuted in 1989, but he started in the territory days before going to WCW. Gave him his big break, and later on in later years becoming a megastar, not just in the WWE but in pro wrestling overall. So yeah, it was a really good match. Some parts of the match got a little boring, but I think I call it, it's between the main event and this match, which one is the match of the night. So anyway, moving on to the next match. The next match, it's not on the same level as the TV title match between Stunning Steve Austin and Dustin Rhodes. We got Oz versus Bill Kazmaier. Bill Kazmaier is a 3-time World's Strongest Man winner. He won the World's Strongest Man contest in the early 80s, in 1980, 1981, and 1982, feuding guys like Jeff Capes and John Paul Sigmason. He got banned from the World's Strongest Man for 5 years. He didn't do something. I think he banned him because he was so dominant. Come back in '88, wasn't the same. Kind of fizzled out his strongman career. He bounced around in American football, in professional wrestling. Oz is, Kevin Nash, aka Diesel. He became Vinny Vegas in 1992. It's way better than Oz. That was a goddamn shit gimmick. The match was crap. I'm sorry, it's crap. It's just two big guys doing holds. It's test of strength. Kazmaier locked Oz, Kevin Nash, with a torture rack. He doesn't do the same thing as Lex Luger or even Ezekiel Jackson do it. He just basically plays Oz on his shoulders, and that's it. That's a torture rack. Anyway, so I'm not crapping on Kazmaier. He's known for his static strength. Go and watch World's Strongest Man from 80 to 82. He's known for his shoulder strength, deadlift, and his squat. He's not really that athletic, Bill Kazmaier. He's more for he's just a big guy, doing big guy moves, and the match lasted about almost 4 minutes. So moving on to the next match. The next match is not an improvement. We got Van Hammer taking on Doug Summers. Originally it was supposed to be Doug Summers versus Michael P.S. Hayes. Unfortunately, Michael P.S. Hayes suffered a kayfabe injury, so Van Hammer was the last-minute replacement of Michael P.S. Hayes. I think this is the shortest match on the card. It will only last about a minute, 13 minutes. Match sucked. There were botches, man. I think Van Hammer was Irish whipped Doug Summers. I think it was going for a clothesline, but Summers kind of slipped. And then Van Hammer hit Doug Summers with a crappy looking, I think it was a slingshot, it was a slingshot suplex. I see a lot of suplexing, and sometimes with suplexes you gotta land your opponent on your back. Van Hammer landed Doug Summers on his head. That was bad, and it was nothing match, no build to this. And I don't know much about Doug Summers. Van Hammer I knew. He was part of the Misfits in Action. He was part of Raven's Flock in the late 90s of WCW. Misfits Action, that was in 2000, in the dying days of WCW. But no chemistry, so let's move on. The next match, this is for the crowning of the first WCW Light Heavyweight Champion. The Light Heavyweight Championship is basically the predecessor to the Cruiserweight title later on in WCW's run. We got Flying Brian Pillman taking on, what's his name? Richard Morton of the York Foundation. They did this tournament in, I don't know what month they did it in. I don't know what month they did this tournament. Probably later on in early parts of 1991. So, Pillman and Morton reached the final on this show. I'm guessing August, September time they plan to do this tournament to crown the new not new, but the first light heavyweight champion. Anyway, so the match was good. The match was good. It was decent, but it's not on the same level as the TV title match from earlier between Austin and Dustin Rhodes. The match between Pillman and Richie Morton, it was decent. It has to do with Richie Morton was getting older. He was older than Brian Pillman, but at the same and he was a heel. He does. I think he did some fast-paced moves when he was part of the Rock and Roll Express with Robert Gibson. I think it has to do because heels don't do the flashy pound moves. They end up getting like cheered. You know, do the fast-paced moves. And I don't think he do some flips and dives. Maybe he does the drop kicks, but never like he has to slow down for Pillman. That really hurt this match. But overall, it was a decent, good match. In the end, and also the referee on these shows, they're wearing like helmets, and the announcers call it they're wearing referee eye cameras. I don't know what they are. They're not that good. They look stupid. Referees like on the show like Nick Patrick and Randy Anderson wearing helmets on their head. The referee eye cam they're called. They're not that good. They did it years later at the Sold Out show, and then TNA did it years later in 2012, 2013. It just doesn't really work in my opinion. But yeah, in the end, Pillman hit Morton with the crossbody for the win, and he became the first light heavyweight champion. He became a two-time light heavyweight champion. Unfortunately, the light heavyweight championship only lasted for 1 year. Pillman hold the most reigns. He won the title twice, and then I think it's they had 4 champions in the history of the light heavyweight title. You had Brian Pillman, Jushin from the Liger, Scotty Flamingo, aka the Future Raven. The last champion was Brad Armstrong. I think he's the brother of Road Dogg Jesse James, and then the light heavyweight title was retired in September, and then years later they did the cruiserweight division, and the rest is history. So the light heavyweight title is basically the predecessor to the cruiserweight title in the Monday Night War era of WCW. The next match, I think there's 2 shortest matches in the show. We had Van Hammer versus Doug Summers. We got Tom Zank versus the Halloween Phantom. Like I said, it's just we're in the Jim Herd WCW era, trying to copy what WWF doing. The sports entertainment side of pro wrestling. And this is a spoiler alert. The Halloween Phantom is ravishing Rick Rude, making his WCW debut because he bounced around the Indies and Japan after leaving the WWF the previous year in 1990. I think it was days before Survivor Series because of a pay dispute. Came back in 97, part of DX, and later on in WCW in 97 after Survivor Series before his death in 1999. Anyway, the match was just It was forgettable. They're trying to WCW trying to say, oh, that's not Rick Rude, but the Phantom hit Zenk with the Rude Awakening. It's basically a swinging net breaker for the win. And then later on, you had Paul Heyman, or Paulie Dangerously with Medusa, revealed that the Halloween Phantom is Rick Rude. They said they're going for the WCW United States Champion. That is Sting. I forgot to mention it. And Rude, and that promo is way better than the actual match between the Z-Man, Tom Sink versus the Halloween Phantom. They said they're going to dismantle WCW brick by brick, because I heard rumors that Heyman got in trouble by WCW, got suspended because he leaked out an event. I think it's a show called in the USWA. He got in trouble, so he came back, and this was the start of the Dangerous Alliance in WCW. You had Rick Rude, Stunning Steve Austin, Beautiful Bobby Eaton, and the Enforcers, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, and that's another story for another time. So, and also, Rude will end up defeating Sting for the United States title in 1992. So, moving on to the next match. The next match, this is for the WCW World Tag Team Championships. We got the Enforcers. That is Barry Windham, Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, and Larry Zbyszko defending the belts against the United States Tag Team Champions, the Patriots. That is Todd Champion and Firebreaker Chip. The Patriots won the tag team titles early in 1991. I think what they won. I think it's for the Fake It title because I think it's one of the belts because in let me think. I'll check it right now. See I think it's it could be the WCW title, WCW tag team titles or the United States tag team titles. It's one or the other. 1991. Yeah, it was the WCW tag team titles. Yeah, the Enforcers won the tag team titles at the Clash of the Champions show the previous month because the last champions were the Steiners. They have to figure the titles due to Scott suffered a bicep injury. The Patriots. This is Head Cheese booking again. You know, like the match between the Creatures versus PN News and Big Joss. I don't know. I think Firebreaker Chip is is a guy dressing up like a fireman. I don't know what Todd Champion is supposed to look like. Is he a soldier, a police officer? Beats me. Anyway, the match was okay. Both Todd Champion and Firebreaker Chip, they can still go. It was a bit slower. That's the problem with this show. I think it's some of the matches were slower pace. I wish they pick up the pace a bit. I'm not saying doing flips and dives. They don't do flips and dives, but pick up the pace I'm trying to say. In the end, I think Arn Anderson hit. I think it was Todd Champion with the Spine Buster to win this match and retain the WCW Tag Team titles. Yeah, as for the Patriots, I don't think they stick around. I don't know much about Firebreaker Chip and Todd Champion. They're just kind of there. Yeah, like I said, they were the United States Tag Team Champions. They won the belts. In August, and they ended up dropping the belts in November to the Pistols. That is Steve Armstrong and Tracy Smothers, and then you never see them ever again. They're just kind of there. So moving on to the main event. The main event. This is a 2-hour-3 pinfall match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Lex Luger won the belt at the Great American Bash that summer in the steel cage match against Barry Windham. Because the original plans, it was supposed to be him versus Ric Flair, but Flair left the company, went to the WWF, took the original big gold belt with him. Luger won the belt, and he kicked off his reign lasted until the beginning parts of 1992. Before he dropped the belt to Sting, then Luger left to the WBF and shit the bed in the World Wrestling Federation. Another story for another time. Watch my review of SummerSlam 1993. Anyway, Ron Simmons broke away from the Tag Team Doom. This was the start when he's becoming a single star. I think they're both American football players. I think they played college football. They never played in the NFL. I think Ahmed Johnson played for the Dallas Cowboys. Anyway, the match was good. I think it was a really good match. I think the TV title match is match of the night. That takes the second place. It was a good match between Luger and Ron Simmons. Simmons scored the first pinfall in this match with the Spine Buster. I don't like this rule. Basically, Luger won the second pinfall, or he scored the equalizer. He thrown Simmons out off the top rope. Simmons threw Luger off the top rope. That really, and ultimately a disqualification. I hate that. I'm glad they don't do it anymore. Throwing your opponent off the top rope, and that's a DQ. That's fucking stupid. I'm glad they don't do it anymore in today's pro wrestling. It was back and forth, a lot of near falls. In the end, Luger hit the power driver onto Simmons. They call it the attitude adjustment. This is decades before John Cena's. Because there's two different versions of the AA. Cena's AA is a fireman's carry, and Luger's AA is a power driver. I think the reason why he's doing the power driver because Kazmaier early on the show uses he kind of used the torture rack, so he ended up he kind of used the torture rack again after Kazmaier left the company, and I think he ended up feuding with Kazmaier for the world title in 91 and 92 before he left the company to go to the WBF and the WWF. So anyway, and Simmons, this was a blessing in disguise. He ended up winning the world title the following year in 1992 in August, so it didn't really hurt him. It's not a one-time thing, like he's lost the world title match and then he's not in the world title match or have one sniff of the world title ever again. My final rating for WCW's Halloween Havoc 1991, I give it a 5 out of 10. It's really back and forth between a solid 5 out of 10, 5.5 out of 10, or 4 out of 10. This was a mixed bag of a show. Out of the two shows of WCW in 1991 I review, Starrcade 91 and Super Bowl of that year, this is right down the middle. I haven't really seen all the WCW's pay-per-views from 1991, just two, like Starrcade and Super Bowl, and now this show, Halloween Havoc. But yeah, this is right down the middle. I thought it was a bad show, but it wasn't. Like I said, you had some moments in this show, some good matches. Yeah, the two matches in the middle for me has to be the WCW Tag Team Title match between the Enforcers and the Patriots. Johnny Big Bad versus Jimmy John Garvin of Freebirds. It was okay. Yeah, the good matches you had. Yeah, Austin versus Dustin Rhodes for the WCW TV title. The main event between Luger versus Ron Simmons for the 2 out of 3 pinfall match for the WCW World title. And Bobby Eaton versus Terrence Taylor of the York Foundation. And even the light heavyweight title match, that was also good. You know, it was decent, but it's not going to make me to go, wow, I need to watch this show again. The bad was the bad, like, PN News, Big Joss versus the Creatures. That was crap. That was just a squash match. Oz versus Bill Kazmaier, the Halloween Phantom. Guess what? In WCW did like the same storyline from 1990 with the Black Scorpion. When that's Ric Flair dressing up like the Black Scorpion. This is what it is. Jim Hood's ideas. And even the holy shit, the Chamber of Horrors matches. I never heard it. I heard about this match, but never seen it. But when I seen it, it was terrible, but it was terrible in a funny way. So yeah, if you want, nothing's terrible, but at the same time, wasn't great either. It's just right down the middle of quality. So anyway, hope you enjoyed my review of WCW's Halloween Havoc 1991. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, smash the like button, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, let's review another Halloween Havoc show from the Monday Night War era. So let's go to the year of 1997, WCW's like golden year for the company. Let's review Halloween Havoc 97. You had Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero for the Cruiserweight title, and Age of the Cage. Holy shit. That show took place a few weeks after Bad Blood, the WWF pay-per-view. Age of the Cage is Hogan versus Piper, so you can't wait for that. This is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.